What about you, Zoe? You got some dirty little secrets? Hey, everyone. And that's pretty much the only memorable line from the movie, so I will struggle for later on. We are back. We are getting up to date with the whatever you call this franchise. Let's just say Isle. It's the Isle franchise. I always know what you did last summer in this one. So this is the 2006 movie, which came a bit later and is this very random, straight to DVD kind of soft reboot where they make very little reference to the original movie, but it's set. You got different characters. It's set in a different location, which we'll talk about as we go through the movie. But they do make reference to like the legend of the original movie and the link to the 4th of July and what happened to those characters. And from there, we'll talk about the ending when we get to it. But from there, for the most part, it plays out very similar to that original movie. It follows a lot of the similar plot beats, and you also get a lot of the same character types, really, where they're kind of filling in, this is the version of that character from the original movies. So you know what to expect in many ways when it comes to what's going to actually happen in the movie. Only the end with this movie where it's going to be worth actually talking about any spoilers, but we'll get some early thoughts on this. And since Jess is in the middle, it does make sense to go with you first of all, Jess.
This movie was the absolute most skippable in the entire franchise. This is the most forgettable movie in the franchise. Is very, very much same thing, different area, kind of until the end, which was okay. It wasn't anything to write home about, but it was okay until the ending, and then it lost me completely. I'm like, I'm out.
Okay.
Like, this is one that I honestly wouldn't even bother with.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we had to. It's our duty, but that's it. That's it. I can't.
We did them.
We did them.
We did them. And of course, we're going to do this one because the new one's coming out. But we watched it so the rest of the people didn't have to.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, very good. Okay, Alyssa, what did you think of the movie?
Well, yeah, it's extremely forgettable. Also, it's so dumb that it doesn't even take place on the coast. But then the slasher or the killer is still the fisherman. So it's like, I mean, I know at the end they kind of explain why, but still it's dumb. And but though I was learning, apparently this movie supposedly was supposed to be a third movie with like Jennifer Love Hewitt and a call back to like some of the other characters, but that didn't work out. So honestly, I think it was their half-assed attempt to save.
They had to scramble.
Yeah. Like the characters feel like copy and paste from like the first movie, and the acting really wasn't
awful,
anything.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was not great.
Yeah.
Some of the locations were interesting, to give it credit.
The scenery was beautiful.
Yes, the scenery was beautiful. But yeah, it's just like everything that the first movie is, but much, much, much worse and more forgettable. It's like at least the second movie has some stuff that's memorable and redeemable about it. But this
is almost like a Wish.com version.
Yeah.
Sci-fi original version.
Yeah,
I was getting a lot of those sorts of vibes. I mean, at times it was very cheesy and soapy, so I was getting very Lifetime movie type vibes from a lot of the drama with the characters. And yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, I'll let you guys in on something, like the way this movie opened and the look of it, because I do have like mild like epilepsy, and with all that crackling that was going on in the intro and something which continues throughout the movie, I thought I had to look away from the screen. I thought I was going to have, I mean, not really, but I'm exaggerating, but I was like, yeah, if I don't look away, I might get a seizure here, because that like crackling thing they kept doing was so grating, and it just
I feel
made
like that was a very 2000s
yeah.
effect for sure.
Well, yeah, because it reminds me of, and I guess this is a bit of an insult in a way, but like, you know how on network TV at that time you would get like transitions like this?
Yeah.
It reminded me of that, because they sort of did that on Angel, which I know is clearly a much better thing than this, but like they did use that transition effect where you had like a lightning thing, or like the screen kind of jumped and you like transitioned in.
Yeah.
And in this, it just felt like, well, they're doing it partly to hide how cheap the movie is, and so there was that, like just how subgrade it all looked, dingy, like the whole thing looked, like the way things were lit.
Yeah.
And I'll just, because I said it, I did, when I saw the ski lift, I did get excited, because I sort of do enjoy scenes that are set on, like action scenes that are set on ski lifts. You know, I always think of the James Bond movie with that scene, but like, so, and I mean, obviously that scene was crap. I mean, it was just an excuse to have, okay, he's up there, is he going to jump out at her? And again, it was so contrived and just like, yeah, what's going on with this? But
so predictable.
Talking about like the intro, I don't know if you noticed this watching the rest of the movie. I feel like they just got either the producer had some really weird ideas, or they just had a terrible video editor. I don't know who to blame, but like especially when the main girl is like in the gondola and she is like getting rocked. She's literally changing position, like as they're cutting, she's changing positions, and there's no continuity at all. It's just like random change of positions.
Yeah.
And I mean, they kind of do that somewhat in some other scenes, but that one was like definitely like the most obvious.
That was the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was, like we said, with the characters, I was getting the vibe like it's just like these really lame, cheap versions where they're just. That's what I said. It's kind of like this weird in between thing of a soft reboot, but kind of just like, in a way, you're copying and pasting so much about the first movie, and obviously they make references to the first movie, but I think that's the problem: is they either should have done like a whole new thing, or they should have just went with it and just, you know, did like referenced it more. It was this awkward in between thing, and it was just extremely dull to watch. And like we said, or I've said it before, the worst thing you can be is like boring, because that's the thing. When you talk about movies like this, it's so hard because you want standout scenes to talk about, and you want scenes where, even if it's a bad movie, and we obviously went into this one expecting it to be bad, but you kind of want it to be crazy bad. You kind of want it
I mean, lean
at least
into
you
it.
remember it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit like, do you remember that scene? I think it's Friday the 13th part 2. You know, that like the handstand scene where he like gets hacked in half by Jason. It's like a really famous scene, but it's like that. I mean, you remember that scene?
Like, remember?
It's like, I think it's the second one. It's one of those famous scenes, and it just because I think the guy is drunk and he's like messing about, so he's kind of doing like walking along on his hands basically, and Jason casually comes up and kills him basically, and you remember it. That's the thing. Like, it's kind of like, okay, what is this scene? But it's so memorable, and like there's nothing memorable about this movie. Like it doesn't
It
even
really
fall,
isn't.
fall into like that guilty pleasure type thing.
Like the thing I remember most is like when they were in the back storage area and you saw all of the gondolas. I'm like, do places actually have that many gondolas just in storage like that?
Yeah.
That was the only thing that
Was
like
it-
stuck out to me.
I
And this thing-
mean-
that has nothing to do with the movie itself.
I mean, that part kind of made sense to me, especially if they're doing maintenance on them.
Is
They're all
that
Yeah,
in
that
one place,
is
but
like, you know, I
still,
was
yeah,
so
it's-
out of the movie that I was
Yeah.
like thinking about other
exactly
things than what was
that's
actually
what I was-
things that have no bearing on it.
And that was when he was like being chased by the killer or whatever,
Yeah.
like about to be killed. It's like that just tells you like how
Invested.
Yeah.
this movie is.
Well, exactly, because one of the things I was going to pick out, because when the movie is this bad and forgettable, you do look for things like this to like talk about, because you have to make your own fun. And one of the things I noticed is like when they're doing the whole like the 4th of July performance, and you've got all these different bands, and you've got Zoe and her shitty band. I mean, they suck, but it's like that's a very of the time sort of sound as well. But like,
Yeah.
and again, they do like a rehash, don't they, of the scene from the first movie where it's kind of like they're doing it to try and draw the killer out. So they're like, okay, the performance will go ahead as planned, and the characters are kind of watching out for it. So again,
Yeah.
it's a lame rehash of that, really. But like, I noticed in the mosh pit, everyone had sparklers, and it's like, this isn't very safe. I mean, it's like, surely there would be some fatalities that way, and it might have livened the movie up actually. But I mean,
Probably would have.
yeah, they all had them above their head, and
Just
like, oh,
go ahead. Let's add some chaos to it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I also loved how I think her name was Zoe, but how the Sarah Michelle Gellar like copy and paste
Mhm.
character, like she was obviously inspiration from Avril Lavigne. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
man, this is so early
Yeah.
2000s.
Yeah.
It hurts.
A little bit.
yeah, because I mean, really, all the stuff with the characters, I just found their whole vibe really annoying, and I didn't buy them as friends. Really agree with them. I'm
Yeah.
like, why would you hate this other person? You're always fighting. Why would you? Because it's like they were quite catty, weren't they? Back and forth, like Zoe and Amber, the main girl was, and
Mhm.
you know, in the first movie, like obviously they didn't always get on, but you got the impression they were close friends, and you
Yeah.
could see why they would hang out. And but in this, yeah, they're just at each other's throats all the time, and I never felt any chemistry with Amber and the boyfriend. He was
No.
very
Yeah.
the whole thing at the fairground was stupid. Like, you know, it's
And
like,
there's so much forced drama too.
yeah, it's like, okay, it's because he's doing the shooting game, and she's like, well, I'll go home with you if you hit the target or something. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Get out of here, movie. Yeah, you know, so from the off, they're giving us no reasons to really care about what's going on with these characters. On paper, like if it was done better, it could have been a good movie, because I quite like them doing a count up to like the 4th of July.
Mhm.
You know, I quite like when movies do that. But again, if it was a better movie and the stakes were higher, that could have been a good thing to follow. But because it wasn't, I didn't really care. And you know, I don't mind too much them. I know they do it in a lot of movies, but I didn't mind too much them like telling the story around the fire, and it's the legend, and that's fine. I mean, a lot of movies do that, but you know, that's a fine way to kind of say, okay, we're referencing the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The red herring was lame. I mean, when we go back to, obviously, I was saying in the original movie, like the Big Bang Theory guy, you know,
Yeah.
again, you go back to that. I mean, that's obvious. He was never going to be the killer, but at least the actor's quite good, and you know, a
Mhm.
little bit of a personality, and that's the thing. By comparison, this, you know, those movies suddenly seem much better. Like, you know, this in like, because those movies weren't subtle, but in comparison with this, they actually seem quite subtle now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's like anything we complained about with the first movie, the third one's like, oh, you you think you can complain about that? Look at this. This is how bad it can be. Is this what you wanted?
No. Thing that I can really remember as far as memorable lines from the movie is the one that they kept repeating over and over and over. I know what you did last summer.
Yeah, and so occasionally someone would deliver a line like that in quite a hammy way, and that was something. But apart from that, yeah, there wasn't. And it was so funny. It was contrived, like the whole.
They were trying to make it ominous and all, and
Yeah,
I'm just like, so
you know,
what?
The one that made me laugh like that was when it was at the swimming pool, and like someone actually like spelt it out in the water.
It's like, how did he not like see them come up dripping wet and like quickly write? It's like, no.
So desperate, but it's so funny. Oh man, yeah. See, it's funny to talk about, but actually watching.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And also, I don't think any of the kills really stood out. I thought the horror scenes were really bad. No suspense.
Yeah.
The only slight one I enjoyed a little bit is I did enjoy the guy when he was hung up on the forklift. You know, when like the forklift spikes. You know, visually that was quite satisfying.
Yeah.
I think he was he the red herring guy?
One of them, yeah. Yeah, he was Deputy Creeper McCreeperson.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, that was okay. But apart from that, none of the horror moments stood out.
Nah.
So I think we've come to the twist. Really, let's go and talk about the twist. Really, because it really felt like they knew they had nothing else. So I mean, really, they had to throw this in, and. Oh my god! I mean, like I mean, I did know going in anyway, just because I'd heard in the past. But I mean, otherwise, there's no way I would have predicted the zombie twist to this. It's like, and I think here's the problem for me is like, because when you say to people that's the twist, they're like, okay, yeah, I wouldn't have seen that coming, and it's like. Because when I was telling someone last night, she was like, well, maybe I'll watch the last 15 minutes and not bother with the rest. But
honestly, you wouldn't be missing anything if you did that.
But I think the problem with that is you kind of have to make that the whole movie. Like you have to build around that. You have to lead up to that and not just make it a quick thing at the end where they're just going to get, just lean into actually making this a different kind of movie to the others, like making it quite wacky and you can actually do things with it. But instead it's just resolved in about like 10 minutes. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because whenever the guy was like, oh, I bought the real hook off of eBay, I was like, no, he got scammed or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, it's actually the hook. And then the freaking ghost.
Yeah, they basically make it out to be like a cursed object. And honestly, when you find out that it's like supposed to be the ghost or the spirit of the guy, then which doesn't act exactly like a spirit. Like they put him through what's basically a wood chipper.
Yeah, they're just grabbing at things, aren't they?
But okay. Yeah. Like pick a lane, but fine. It's
yeah, that's the trouble, because obviously if it was just a zombie, then you would probably just accept that. It would be like, I mean, it would still be naff because they haven't made enough of it, but like, you would be, okay, that's fair enough. I can believe a zombie would be toast after that. But it's like, yeah, then they start adding all
But
these
a
other.
spirit, yeah.
Yeah, they start adding all these gimmicks on top of it. and-
Yeah, they don't really give you the rules very well.
They don't. There are no rules.
Yeah, no rules.
Rules are so important.
Um,
What can we base this on? 'Cause
well, and then also, like, I know, like, the whole cursed object thing, but I feel like that's not a great motivation to have
it's not.
the killer. It's just, yeah, it just
It's
makes the whole
not.
thing lackluster.
They honestly could have just given us the legend of the fisherman or whatever, and the killer that killed around 4th of July, and then changed it slightly to fit the area more.
Yeah. Yeah.
It still would have been kind of cut and paste same movie, but it still would have made a bit more sense.
Because also the stuff about like they're trying to tap with, like you said, they get the original hook from that was used, and that's tapping into a lot of the stuff at the time, which was becoming this thing around internet culture and things like that, or people
Yeah.
kind of idolizing like serial killers, things like that. But even that stuff, it's done much better in something like Scream. That kind of got there before this movie, but that just seems like. But again, you need to run with it. You need to maybe do a bit more than just have, because that in a way just feels like it's just a cheap nod
Yeah.
to the fact that it's in the same franchise, but they didn't do enough with it really.
Yeah.
It's 22 minutes.
There's not much to say
know.
about this movie. There's
Yeah, it's just a
really not.
disappointment.
And
But it's
that's
like I care so little about the movie that I'm not even disappointed. I'm just
Mm. Yeah, I was fighting to stay awake watching this. It is so dull.
yeah.
We did watch it together, Alyssa and I, so we got to make fun of it a little bit.
Yeah,
But that
We're
didn't even
watching
it didn't even make it that fun to watch.
It
though.
really didn't.
oh boy. I went in expecting a bad movie, and I kind of knew then it was going to be even worse than the other two, but at the same time, you just hope that it's going to be a wacky guilty pleasure and there's at least things to talk about. But we're doing our best to like create things to talk about, because really there's hardly anything.
There's
Yeah.
not much.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think we'll do our ratings in a minute, but I think we can obviously have a little bit of a franchise talk as well, since we're now up to date and things. But I'll go with Alyssa this time. What are you going to rate this movie?
Oh no. Oh man. I guess I'll give it like a 3 out of 10. Where it's like
Okay.
I kind of, I mean, it's like I care so little that I don't really have any regrets watching it, but it's just like I would have been okay never seeing this for my life. So
Yeah, exactly. Jess?
I'll give it a 4. Like, it's not
Mm,
completely horrible, but again, it is just a meh movie. Like, I don't
okay.
care much about it. I don't care to watch it again, but I've seen way worse. So,
Okay.
but
But let me ask you this, because this was something we were talking about offline with the Room thing. Are some of those movies that you've seen which you would say are worse than this? Because I've seen worse as well, to be fair. But like, would you say some of those movies are more memorable and like entertaining bad? It depends what movie.
it depends on the movie, but the ones I'm thinking of are not entertaining bad.
Okay.
They're just plain awful.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it's a little bit harder to entertain Jess than it is to entertain me.
it is. We have a different
Okay.
kind of humor when it comes to bad movies. So
That's fair. Yeah.
the ones that I'm thinking of hit with her. Velocipaster comes to mind. But
Oh
it's-
yes.
But
I
it's a
remember
total
that.
10 out of
movie.
10. Would recommend.
I want those couple hours of my life back.
Yeah,
But
it's
this
funny.
one,
'Cause-
it's whatever. I could still have this one on in the background if I'm like just going through the franchise
well, that's
to
true.
watch the new one and just do literally anything else while it's on
Yeah.
and not
This
care.
is a background movie.
Yeah. And you still wouldn't miss anything.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm pretty certain I wouldn't rewatch this one. I think the only circumstance would be if I sort of found like the box set of the three together cheap enough.
Yeah.
And I guess if it's sitting there, I might as well sort of pull it. Like if I watch the other two, and then it's like, okay,
Yeah. This
you
is
can
one
see the
that
trifecta or
automatically,
whatever.
yeah, it automatically comes on after the first two, and you're doing laundry or something.
damn
Cooking
it,
dinner,
they've got
whatever.
me. Yeah, those fucks. They've drawn
Vacuuming.
me back in. Well, okay, so I'm gonna disagree a little bit, certainly with Jess, because I'm going pretty much bottom of the barrel and a 1 out of 10. Basically.
Wow.
pretty much unredeemable.
You haven't seen Lamageddon, have you?
Lamageddon's memorable.
Not
Sounds
really.
Like a 8 out of
Well, I
10.
can't comment on that, but in general, like as I said earlier, the worst
Yeah.
thing you can be is like boring, and
Yeah.
I think this just ticks all the boxes. Like it's boring to watch. It looks boring. There's no like atmosphere to it. The characters,
There's no personality.
yeah,
Right.
that's a good way to put it. The characters are really bland and annoying. And that's another thing, going back to what I was saying about like Friday the 13th. Like if you go back to those slasher movies, they were intentionally playing up to like the characters being
Oh, yeah.
annoying, and you remember some of those characters. Like they actually have personalities and stand
Mhm.
out, but none of these characters did.
Nope. Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, really, that's consistent with my ratings because I did go like super low on the other two. So it probably makes sense that I would go as low as a 1 on this one. But and I do get some stick about my feelings on the other movies. Like maybe I'm being a bit harsh,
Eh,
but
It's all
we're-
opinions anyway.
yeah, I just think it's that thing. I mean, we're sort of having the franchise talk now, but it's that thing like I have nostalgia for the original two, and I remember them. But sometimes things like that date better than others. And
Oh yeah, for sure.
and one of the things that stood out about the first one when we rewatched it is I was surprised it wasn't like funnier. Like
Yeah.
just Kevin Williamson doing the script. Normally he does
Yeah.
quite good comedy. So I was surprised at the very least there wasn't more laughs in it.
Yeah. It's quite serious.
Hmm
Yeah, it takes
Probably would have made it better, honestly, if they had
Yeah.
added just a little bit of humor.
I mean, like the killer is a fisherman with a fish hook. He's in. I think the term is like slicker or whatever, but it's like
yeah,
he's in like what
it's a
looks like to
slicker.
be a raincoat. Like how threatening is that? Like for real.
Yeah. And then
So, they missed an opportunity.
So
Yep.
again, it is that contrast, isn't it? Like the first one, I think is a better movie than the sequel. Like the first, but the sequel, because of how silly the plot gets, is in a way a little bit more memorable.
hmm
So it's sort of that contrast,
Yeah.
really.
has a bit of charm to it, but the third one just kind of goes off a cliff.
Absolutely. and of course, we all remember the Benson from number 2. Benson. See what they did there? Okay, so normally, like in the past, when me and Rachel have gone through like franchises like this, I normally get each of us to rank them, but I don't think there's much of a point. I think we're going to be in
I
agreement.
think, yeah, I'm
Pretty
pretty
clear.
sure we're
Yeah.
all just gonna agree.
Yeah, only to say, like, as I said, I've got, like, as a guilty pleasure, I think the second one is a bit more than the first, but definitely
fair.
the first one is Sarah Michelle Gellar in, so I
Mhm.
mean, the first one is a better movie. It's just it's
Yeah.
not always that interesting to watch. So
Yeah. It's definitely, at least for me, the first one's more nostalgic than the second one, but the second one definitely has its own charm to it.
mhm. One thing, just going back to this one, I noticed, which was a bit random, but one of the writers is the writer of the original, like, novel, the I Know What You Did Last Summer novel, Lois Duncan. So I thought
Interesting.
that was a bit, like, she's one of 3 writers, so I'm not quite sure how much input she had, but that
Mhm.
was, I guess that's quite a nice touch, having her on the writing team. And I mean, maybe she was just so pissed with what they did with her novel in the first one. Maybe she wanted revenge and really go into town on how bad this was. Having revisited this franchise, how do you guys think it holds up compared with when you saw them back in the day?
It definitely fades a lot more into the background than it did at the time. But it's like, for me, the series will always be nostalgic just because I grew up with them. But
Mm-hmm.
comparing it to like Scream and some of the other like 90s horrors that came out, it's like this one definitely is a weaker one.
Yeah.
I agree. This one, even when I first saw it when it came out, it was kind of lackluster, and it just wasn't as strong and impactful as the other movies. They didn't stick with me like Scream or Saw or Friday the 13th, Halloween. Those others they stick a lot with you, a lot more. This one is kind of a take it or leave it kind of series for me.
Yeah.
Like it's all right, and I kind of remember it, and the second one does have a bit of charm to it, but they're ultimately forgettable. Like I honestly forget they exist for the most part until
Yeah.
someone mentions them. So
I agree.
they're all right, but there's so many other series that I would much rather gravitate towards. So
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point, because that's sort of the thing, is like you're not really watching a classic horror series, and obviously on the coattails of Scream, like a big thing with Scream was the nostalgia and how it's referencing films from like the 70s and 80s. But at least Scream was able to add its own distinct kind of gimmick, and it was able to, people still rewatch Scream and say, yeah, this is a classic. And you don't really have that with this. Like, I think some of the enthusiasm maybe for like the new one coming out and remembering this one or the original, it is mostly nostalgia. It's just the fact that people are now old enough, people who were like teenagers at the time, they're now old enough to be nostalgic for it, to look back and like have a fond memory of it, rather than saying, I mean, okay, if you enjoy them, you enjoy them. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. But I think a big part of it is nostalgia. Whereas I mean, obviously with Scream, there is a lot of nostalgia, but also it holds up as a really great horror movie.
it does.
Right.
It was a lot stronger.
Yeah. That's our thoughts on I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. Come back to the basic title.
Yeah.
It's not surprising. We obviously did a discussion when the original trailer came out. We said, not bad, we'll wait and see. At least they
Reserve
introduced
judgment.
a new weapon. Yeah, but the characters came off, the new characters at least came off as quite bland, but you can't always tell that in the trailer. It can be deceiving, so we'll wait and see. And you guys won't have long to wait because I'm going to see it on Friday and give my thoughts. So we'll see how it goes. But I again, because of the low bar of some of the franchise, I think it's got a chance at least of being decent. Just want them to do one or two different things, like kind of mix it up a little bit. Like, I don't think it's a franchise where you want wholesale changes, but I think
No, but at least make it your own. Like,
yeah, couple of things. Okay, cool. Well, thanks. So that's another franchise ticked off, at least till this Friday. But we are starting to get ready for Halloween, the spooky month. I've already booked a couple of early episodes there in the bank, and I'm going to give Jess and Alyssa a chance to pick a couple of movies for us to discuss. So those are movie reviews you can look forward to coming out in Halloween. Just a little bit of tease, and I'm sure there'll be many more bonus segments and discussions about different movies. But as always, I'm going to give Alyssa the chance to give me more material for the end of the year sizzle reel. Go for it.
So we have I think Jess should take I did it last time.
You
I
need
think Jess should do
assistance.
it. Yes.
Do you need assistance?
Jump in. Save me.
Not a good start. You nailed
because
it.
I didn't remind her.
I know.
I reminded her last time to prepare something.
Go on then, Jess.
So we are a podcast that drinks tea and reviews horror movies, and once a month we also play horror games where we tend to be giant chickens, but we play them anyway. There's usually lots of chaos involved with those. It's a lot of fun. We do take suggestions on movies to review and games to play, so please drop us a suggestion if you'd like. Obviously, go look at our content, like, subscribe, follow. We have a Discord server available as well, and Teespring with merch, the whole works. And all of those should be linked down below.
Cool. Nice job. Solid job, Jess. A solid 7.5. I'll give that.
Off the top of my head, I mean,
you did
This is why there has to be two of us, so that way one of us can tap out.
Yeah, and the episodes come out on Thursday, right? The weekly reviews.
Yes, we have weekly episodes that come out on Thursdays, and we have our live streams on generally the first Saturday of the month.
And the parts come out Saturday too.
Yes, the parts.
We have clips from games and reviews that come out on Tuesdays.
Yes.
Nice. See, it works when you're a supporting character and you just chip a few things in. It works. That's kind of but
I have anxiety. You can't put me on the spotlight like that, Keith.
I could see it floating away from her brain. You called her name and she turned into deer in the headlights, and all the thoughts went bye.
Okay, well, I will post all those links in the description, of course, and just to remind you guys, you can support me, patreon.com/boardnow. You get some commentaries, movie, TV commentaries. Me and Madison recently did some horror anthology style commentaries, so you can actually us reacting live to the episode, so you can check those out on patreon.com/boardnow. You can also support me as a channel member, and I'll put those links in the description as well. But thanks for watching. We will be back with more horror movies soon, almost certainly better than this one. And remember, guys, we'll always know what you did last summer. Goodbye, everyone.
So you've all heard the story, right? About what happens on July 4th?
Whoa, Amber, you want to freak everyone out?
What are you guys talking about?
The fisherman. Every 4th of July, he sharpens up his hook, runs wild.
They were the best of friends until something went horribly wrong.
The secret dies with us. Say it.
Secret dies with us.
Secret dies with us.
Secret dies with us.
They know the legend, but they never imagined what would happen next.
Did you tell anyone?
I kept our promise. Which one of you opened your mouth?
Now, someone knows their secret.
Ready?
I'll always know what you did last summer.